NIO stock is up almost 30% in the last month. This week so far, it is pulling back. It's down about 10%, and the sellers are in control so far this week. So the big question is this push up for NIO sustainable, or is it part of a counter trend to the longer term bear trend? In this video, I'll conduct a NIO stock price analysis and talk about where this stock is heading next. Let's take a look. Now, if you find value in my analysis of NIO stock today or other stocks on my channel, you may also find value in my email newsletter. If you subscribe, I'll share with you professional trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. Link down below, check it out. So, on the weekly chart for NIO stock, we can see so far this week NIO has dropped around about 10% and the sellers are in control. We can see following the breakout after the price found that higher support at 335. There was three bullish bars up, three strong green bars up, breaking that downtrend line and creating this price peak here last week around about 522. So very bullish last 3 weeks for NIO. However, price has pulled back this week and the sellers are back in control. Yesterday, closing out to around about $4.50. So big question is now, is the selling pressure going to continue this week, or are more buyers going to come back in? Is the price going to have another go this week at reaching 550 and potentially break through, or will it face too much selling pressure this week and potentially fall back down to around about $4? Zooming out on the weekly chart for NIO, we can see and can confirm the stock has been in a long-term downtrend since the all-time high of $66 back in January 2021. And as it's fallen away, we've discussed before on this channel that it does have multiple counter trends as it finds support, buyers come back in, and the price has a spike, moving up against the overall downtrend. You can see it pushed up here and also here, which I've marked in green. You can see it's broken that trend line, created a new peak, this time around $16, only to be sold off and fall away. So you can see the price action here is quite cyclical in that it breaks the trend line, reaches a new peak, but then gets sold off to create a lower low. Now zooming in, we can see that over this past 3 cycles since June 2023, it has broken out only to be sold off. So the risk at the moment with NIO stock is this recent breakout from that low of 335 in the first week of July. There's a risk that this movement perhaps is not going to be sustained with the buying action. We have had 3 weeks up, very bullish the last 3 weeks, but zooming in, we can see, as expected, this week, we're probably going to get a red bar. The sellers are probably going to be in control this week as the buying has slowed down following these 3 bullish weeks. Question is, how low will it go this week? It closed low yesterday, suggesting that there is more downside to come in the next session. Based on this price peak here, it could be short-term support around about 445. So if the selling slows down, we might see some support here, and then price might reverse next week potentially to move up once again to challenge 551. And I think 551 is a key level for NIO. I think if price action reaches this level, breaks through, potentially closes on the weekly chart, it closes through 550 and closes the other side, a strong close, perhaps around 570. That's going to be the first indication that the buyers want to take this stock higher and potentially move it up to this next target of 772. If price stays in this zone here, it meets resistance at 550 and potentially starts to move down again. It would indicate that NIO is just not ready to break out of this sort of 330 to 550 price action where it's been trading in over the last sort of 1 year to 18 months. On the daily chart, we can see NIO breaking out of that downtrend line with the buyers taking over. So nice bullish bar here on Thursday, July the 17th, closed high. Indecision the next day, and then on Monday, 21st of July, it tried to push up, but there was some selling pressure. It closed at about 452. On the Tuesday, big bullish bar. Wednesday, again, it created a new peak around 521, and then there was a bit of selling pressure on Thursday. Now, this week so far, we can see we've got 1, 2, 3 bearish bars. So it does look as if this week overall is probably going to be a down bar, but we might get some buying in the next couple of sessions, and it might not close as low as it is right now. Back on the weekly chart, I think I'd like to see some support here around about 445. I think if the bar closes under 445, this week, it does suggest the sellers are in full control, and we should expect more selling next week, but potentially moving it back down, underneath the trend line once again. Worst case scenario, if it's sold off heavily, it might test 335 again. So right now, it's unclear whether this is a counter trend or the start of a new uptrend. It's still too early to know for certain. The next few weeks will confirm direction. If there's support for NIO where it is, around about 445, and whether it's going to move up once again, buyers come back in, they want to buy this stock, they want to move it up, and it's going to challenge 551 once again. And once it breaks through this level and starts to move towards this level here, this is going to be a really strong indicator that the buyers are in full control and NIO is starting to break out and form a new uptrend. Q2 earnings due in 35 days. So that report could offer a catalyst to really push this stock, surge it up towards that $7 mark. I think if NIO management can deliver on their promises of reduced losses and really tighten up the overall operational efficiency, that's going to give investors confidence, and we might see some new money coming in and price break above 550 convincingly, and then perhaps break out towards 772. If you're looking at NIO stock for your investment portfolio and looking for this stock, as a long-term buy and hold, I think a good entry potentially would be above this $7 marker here. I think when price moves up to this level, you're going to have multiple tests of the selling pressure after it breaks above this $5 level. So essentially what we're saying is, it's broken this trend line. We might get a test now this week, next week. If it can hold here, let's say 450, then breaks out, convincingly breaks above 550, sellers come back in once again, they test, it comes back, it holds above 550. Buyers come in once again, they then test 772. Next cycle, sellers come back, they test the buyer's resolve. Once again, it holds, maybe 650. And then your entry then could be above this level here. By that time, you can see on screen, we've got, 1, 2, 3 tests, 3 higher lows to prove that sellers have had their chance, but buyers have outmuscled them. The buyers have outmuscled the sellers. They've taken the price higher. And it proves then that NIO stock is in a short to medium term uptrend. And that would be your entry trigger to buy on confirmation with medium risk. I think down here in this zone here, it would be higher risk. NIO is still a speculative EV stock. That's the first thing. It's not profitable, doesn't pay a dividend. So straight away, when you got those two things, it's always going to fall into the more speculative investment. And you should think about, placing a smaller percentage of your portfolio in a stock like NIO. But of course, high risk, high rewards. It could surge. It could pop off any moment that management report profitability. But it can go both ways. So you've got to manage your risk. I think buying down here is high risk. I think if you're looking for longer term, you want to put an EV stock in your portfolio. I think earnings from NIO, Q2 and then Q3, if they're both positive in that the losses have been reduced significantly, and it's clear that by Q4, profitability is a real possibility. It's realistic. You can see it in the numbers. The moment that happens, I think new money is going to come into the stock and it's going to take off. But for confirmation for that to happen, I think we're going to see price move through these levels in sequence. And for me, this level up here, that 771 resistance, that's a key one. I think once it breaks through there, NIO is going to be away, and it's going to move quickly towards $16. So those are my thoughts on NIO stock. Let me know what you think. Do you think NIO can break above 550 in the next few weeks? Or is it going to face more selling pressure, and then potentially the earnings report will dictate where this stock goes next? Let me know. Thanks for watching.